Welcome to my presentation today. My name is Vanessa Tomas, and I'm a third-year PhD candidate at the University of Toronto, conducting my research at Bloorview Research Institute at Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital under the supervision of Dr. Sally Lindsay. Stress, anxiety, uncertainty, and confusion. These are often felt by employees on the autism spectrum when they are deciding whether to disclose their autism diagnosis or related needs at work. While we are now better understanding the disclosure experiences among autistic adults, very little is known about the disclosure experiences and needs of autistic youth. Understanding their experiences is a critical first step in knowing how to support them make these decisions as they transition to the workforce and adult life. Thus, for this study, we used online focus groups using Zoom software to explore the workplace disclosure experiences, influencers, and needs among autistic youth and young adults. We also compared experiences across gender groups to see if any differences or trends emerged. To inform the study, we used one theory and one framework from the field of knowledge translation, which have been outlined on the bottom right of the screen. Specifically, the capability, opportunity, motivation, behavior, or COM-B model, and the theoretical domains framework, or TDF, which includes 14 domains based on theories of psychology and organizational behavior change. These were used to help us understand and categorize potential influencers of disclosure-related behaviors, for example, related to the disclosure decision-making process and actual navigation of disclosure events, and identify needs. The COM-B was used to guide our focus group questions, and the TDF was used to guide the analysis. Our study involved 23 Canadian autistic youth and young adults with a mean age of 22.8 years. To analyze the data, we mapped the data onto 13 out of 14 relevant domains from the TDF to identify key patterns and to develop 5 overarching themes: the workplace environment, perceptions of disclosure outcomes, personal factors and identity, disclosure-related ambitions and determination, and the know-hows of disclosure. Overall, many factors were shown to influence disclosure, with the workplace environment being discussed as the greatest influencer, such as the culture and whether it's inclusive and accepting towards autism and other disabilities. Further, perceptions of disclosure outcomes. Many participants focused on negative outcomes of disclosure, such as discrimination, or had a fear of getting fired or not hired if they disclosed. Many participants did not speak of or were not aware of the benefits of disclosure. Participants also spoke to being more comfortable disclosing other identities over their autistic identity, such as sexual orientation or transgender identities. Disclosure goals centered around accommodations and increasing autism understanding in their workplace and to catalyze dialogue about autism at work. Knowledge about disclosure logistics, such as how or when to disclose, varied tremendously, with some youth having knowledge of the disclosure process, whereas others not knowing what their options were or how to really approach disclosure. We also noted gender differences in disclosure frequency, identity, and goals. For example, women spoke more to how autism was part of their identity or that their late diagnosis caused confusion around their autistic identity, which influenced disclosure. More women also opted for non-disclosure compared to men and focused on goals to increase autism understanding, whereas most men spoke to obtaining accommodations. With this work, we have begun to clarify the disclosure experiences and needs of autistic Canadian youth and young adults, which is helpful for professionals who support these clients during disclosure processes. Further, by using behavioral frameworks, we have outlined important behavioral domains that can be targeted when designing future interventions, such as the next phase of my doctoral research, to develop a disclosure decision aid tool. Thank you so much for listening today, and a big thank you to my PhD supervisor and committee members for their support throughout this research.